So wake up, the show is about to start. With lots of stories about poo and a bit of heart. When it comes to Joanne, no, you won't find no faults. But if you mess with the bow, you might get the shots. It's time for morning. It's morning with Bill and Joe. It's time for morning. It's gonna be a heck of a show. It's Bill and Joe.
Hello and welcome to Mornin. Oh, it's the end of summer. Bill, how does that make you feel?
It's not the end of summer, Joe. What part of global warming, which you continue to deny, do you not get? Summer will be around until like the third week of October.
You're right. How dare I?
Well, I have to keep telling myself this because the depression level is already at a 9, and you know how I feel about summer. So I don't want it to be at a 10. There's plenty more summer left. Just let me believe that.
Yeah, I know your bunions really don't want to cram back into sneakers.
They do not.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't want to give you too much details, but you brought it up. They're not getting any smaller. So the sneakers that I have might not necessarily be fitting anymore.
Wait,
So,
are bunions like noses and ears? They just continue to grow as you age?
1,000%.
Gross.
Well, but here's the thing. For most people, they have the type of health care and or money where they can afford surgery. I think you know what category I'm in.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like even if you could afford the surgery, like, would you even want to? Because I feel like that's like a lot of
No.
recovery and
Yes. Well, what I was told when I had amazing health care, shout out to News Corp, I went to a very great podiatrist that was recommended to me by some anchor. And normally when you have bunions, hey, look, you brought it up. They,
sorry.
you have the surgery, that's it. For me, and the reason that I have them is because my feet are like the top percentile of flat feet. There's no arch whatsoever. And so what they told me was just the regular bunion surgery is useless because you'll get them almost like a couple years after you have the surgery. What I have to do, should I choose to do it, is have false arches put surgically into my feet. And the
Yeah.
recovery time for that is like 6 months or something like that. And yeah, no thanks. They're annoying and they're not the funnest things to look at. And I know you've seen them
Yeah.
because again, I wear my flip flops a lot. But that's it. And so I'm not doing that until I absolutely have to. And again, as old granny as my bunions predicament is, people, almost everyone in the NBA has a bunions. So
Well,
actually, and we've talked about LeBron's feet.
sure. You know, speaking of athletes and feet, I have your athlete nickname. You know, there's Shoeless Joe. You would be Flat-Footed Bill.
Can we edit that out?
Okay.
Actually, is it possible to just edit you out? I'll just keep talking about bunions. You made your edit cute.
So, everyone who's watching, thank you so much. You know, we love to labor on holidays, especially Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
This is going up maybe a little bit later today than normal because your girl is busy. But to our members, our new members, that's right. We are now monetized on YouTube, if you haven't heard. And you can join and pay us monthly for perks like emoji use and recognition in the comments and shout outs that will be happening in the More You Joe segment. So I will be shouting out some new members. I don't want to say how many we have
I think that's wise.
because it's it's growing daily.
Yes, this is a work in progress.
But
And you know what, aren't we all?
something
Really?
that is really cool is we got a super thanks from J Gross 5253, which was just money saying thanks for being us. Love that.
I'll take that. No one's ever thanked me for being me. I've been asked to be other people, but no one's ever thanked me for being me.
Sure.
Well, okay, and let's do a live workshop here. I had mentioned this and you seemed sort of okay with it. On our, is it terrestrial? What will we call it? the network we used to be on, which was Compound Media, we had a time honored, and by honored, I mean it was time, there was a lot of time we put into it, and we honored it, a segment called Anything You Can Do, Joe Can Do Better,
Mhm.
wherein, pretty much verbatim, we would reenact, make better a movie scene from any type of movie you can imagine, usually classics. Sometimes they would have something to do with something topical, normally not, like an anniversary or something. And so we bat around the idea of possibly subscribers suggesting scenes that we have not done that we should do. And
Yes.
I'm all for that,
Yeah, and
especially if it's a scene that would make you look ridiculous.
sure. And we're trying to figure out how to do it best. If either in the comments of a video you say what you want to see in the next video so we have time to prepare, or
Right.
potentially in the future with a live stream, you could, in the moment in a super chat, request perhaps a monologue and I have to cold read it. That could be fun.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
So yeah, also I think I might do a poll about what time and like day of the week most people would want for a live
That's
stream.
good. Yes.
I don't know if we want to go to like classic morning hours or what, but stay tuned for that to give your 2 cents.
Oh, by the way, I do have a dream. If you're up for it, it's a quick dream, but I'd
Sure.
be interested in your thoughts.
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay. So, do you ever have the type of dream where immediately when you wake up, you're just so angry that it wasn't a reality? The amount
Oh,
of joy that was happening because of said dream, and it felt so real. And then the minute you wake up, you're like, you went from all my problems are solved to same old problems. That was a dream.
sure. Yeah. I had a dream I won like over $1,000 on penny slots and I was pissed when I woke up and it wasn't real.
That is the most you thing that
Yeah.
I've heard you say in quite some time.
Yeah.
That was very similar to my dream.
Okay.
And very briefly, again, I know people would rather I expand on my dream, but it was a very quick dream. And it's always fascinating to me with dreams. Like, say you have a dream where you've got like a third brother, and within your brain, I don't know how it works, but not only do you have a third brother in your dream, but you've always had it. And there's like this weird built up history that makes total sense. Or
Sure.
like my old dog is not only still alive, but talking. Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Don't question it at all. This
Yeah.
was a little like that, where basically I was walking down the streets of New York, not where Jeopardy films. I assume it's in Los Angeles. And in my head, I'm like, oh, this is what they do. The producers of Jeopardy came outside, like ran out, cornered me, and said, well, you know our segment where we'll just take random people off the street and do the final round of Jeopardy? And of course, in my dream, I'm like, of course I do. And they're like, would you like to do it? And I was like, yes, I would. And I wish I could remember what the questions were, but it was the final round, the whole big thing. And it was like a champion that'd been there for a while. And I'm like, oh gosh, and I'm wearing shorts, probably flip flops, definitely had my bunions. And I don't even remember what the questions were, but I just nail it. And everyone's going crazy because I beat this longtime champion. And they're like, this is amazing. This has never happened before. We get all these people off the street and they fail miserably. And you are now the champion with just these 2 rounds. And I'm like, oh gosh,
Yeah.
this is amazing. And then all of a sudden I look at the board and I realize how much money I had just made. And I had this feeling come over me. I'm like, all my problems are gone. I have no more problem. Like everything that I am awake at night about and is in my brain all day, because I did the man on the street Jeopardy, everything's great. And I'm like all excited. And then, of course, immediately I wake up. And it's also one of those dreams where, like, for like the first 10 seconds, you're like, that still happened. And I'm up and I'm like, I can't believe. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, no. And, I was so excited. I was all this whole weight off my shoulders. And then that slow, not even that slow realization. It was just a very realistic, although nothing I just told you is realistic about the scenario. but it was just a very real feeling dream. And even 2 days later, I'm just walking around like, that fucking Jeopardy thing wasn't real. It wasn't real. Like,
But
that
Bill,
was not.
this is where you've gone wrong. I think this dream was a premonition.
Oh, don't say.
Perhaps not that you're going to be in a Man on the Street Jeopardy segment, but you had this like luck aura over you,
I did.
and you were supposed to immediately either play the lottery or enter some contest or do something. Like there was about to be a shit ton of money coming your way, but now your piss ass attitude has just ruined that whole vibe.
I've earned my piss ass attitude, and this is actually, I've realized, 3 graphics. It's Jeopardy, I Have a Dream, and Joanne Ma. Because your brain, when it comes to easy money, goes to 2 things: the lotto, probably scratch, and penny slots. So it's Joanne Ma as well.
Listen, it's the easiest way to win money without any skill, which is the only way I can win money.
The fact that my grandmother liked both these things, and Jeopardy, actually.
Well, your grandmother was a brilliant woman.
Thanks. Thelma says hello from heaven.
Hey, speaking of
Oh boy, here we go.
dead people,
I mean, she's not alive.
there you go. Oh God, you guys, I kind of love stories like this and I hate stories like this. Let me start by saying, may she rest. There is a woman who unfortunately passed away recently. Her name is Denise Prudhomme, aged 60. That's kind of young. She was found dead on August 20th in her Arizona Wells Fargo office.
Ugh.
She was apparently in her cubicle for 4 days.
That's not an office.
Dead.
A cubicle's very different.
Yeah, no one realized Denise was dead.
By day 4, I bet they realized.
Here's what happened. She scanned into the building at 7 a.m. on Friday, August 16th. They then looked, there was no scan out. She had been there for 4 days. So when within those 4 days she passed, we don't know. It is likely, though, it was on that Friday, because otherwise she would have gone home for the weekend.
Well done, detective.
Thank you. And at first I thought, wow, people are walking by her desk for 4 days and didn't realize. Everyone was home for the weekend for 2 days. But she wasn't discovered until I believe it was Tuesday. Now, here's what's nuts.
Wow.
People said that they had been walking by her desk, didn't realize she was dead, but they had smelled a foul odor.
Arizona!
But they believed it to be faulty plumbing.
Oof.
You know, when I smell a bad odor, I just think, that'll go away. So I get it.
Go away in what way? Oh, yeah, if you're just walking
Yeah.
down. Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but it'll probably pass. But here's the good thing. You know, Wells Fargo is, God, just the best employer ever. We are deeply saddened by the loss of our colleague. Our thoughts are with her family and loved ones. We are
Nice.
in contact to ensure they are well supported during this difficult time. Notice no, I'm sorry we didn't realize your loved one was deceased, or we have such a problematic work culture that no one checks in on each other.
All right, do you want to make it even worse?
Okay.
Does she have loved ones?
Oh, no.
Ooh, I mean, I hate to ask. Like, no one was really, like, calling around asking where the hell Aunt Prudhomme was.
Honestly, right?
Yeah.
At that point, if it's especially over
Doesn't seem
24
right.
hours, she's not seen, you can
Yeah.
declare someone a missing person. They would contact work, go on that trail. Oh, no. That makes me sad.
Yeah, well, start really embracing that, because this is exactly how I'm going out. It'll probably be a lot longer than a couple days.
Oh, no. But you like to leave your door open, so hopefully your neighbors would smell you.
We've got very thick walls. It's a pre-war building.
The odor won't permeate. So, okay, I'm really trying to think of the logistics of this, which is sad. I'll
The
just start by saying.
cubicle thing.
But like, you're in your cubicle. How is it that in what position do you die that even if someone were to pass by and glance at you, like they did say she was in like a not very trafficked area, but
Clearly.
still, like, doesn't someone have to drop a file off at her desk, or there's meetings you have to go to if you're in office? Like, and are you like this? You just like died like that, so it looks like you're just taking a break? I don't know.
Here's how you would know the time of death. If she was in the middle of an email and then all of a sudden went like that on the keyboard, and the
Oh,
email was somehow sent, but it also was just like a bunch of no vowels, just
yeah.
like, hi, yes, I'm just wanted to check on this particular Wells Fargo file. And it also kind of got sent after that,
Yeah.
like just a bunch of consonants, and that person didn't look at their emails.
It also makes me think that perhaps her job was not really one of significance. And by that, I mean, she probably could have been working remote because
Oh, yeah.
clearly no one had to go to her desk. No one needed an immediate reply from her. And when they weren't getting one, they went to her desk. Do you know what I mean? So, and perhaps then it's good she worked in office. Because, yeah, if no one was checking on her, she might have been undiscovered at home for
Uh,
even longer.
yes, you're not wrong. Unless it's one of those crappy non-pre-war Arizona apartments where the walls are so thin that not only could they smell her, but they could maybe even hear her keyboard start going because her face is on it
Huh,
as she's sending her last email. Um,
perhaps.
who knows?
But
Either way, I'm sending my
yeah.
resume. Wells Fargo, Arizona. Seems like there's a job opening.
Yeah, I wonder how many people, like, is it a tough job market there? And they're like, yes, sort of like apartments here in New York.
I
Someone,
wonder if I could get like a sort of a medical, I need to work at home thing based on my bunions. Guys, sounds like you got a lot of stairs. I need to work at home.
maybe.
Yeah. So there's a job opening. I mean, thoughts and prayers to her family.
Yeah,
They did
yeah.
not seem to care enough to know that she was dead. But yeah, yeah.
Brutal. Oh, brutal. Hey, speaking of brutal,
Well, again, I'm gonna like where this is going.
I don't know. It's just a stupid segue. Um,
Is it even a segue?
this is a good excuse to talk about the end of summer, which I know you said it's not, but specifically summer camp,
Yeah.
because, and I feel like we've talked about this in years past on the show, but adult summer camp.
Oh
Uh,
God.
one person, I actually don't know if I have the name of this person, but they went to adult summer camp in Watoma, Wisconsin, and they apparently loved it. There's lots of different things you can do, like pairing chicken nuggets and champagne, cookie decorating. There's also the classic camp activities like archery. Um, and there are some people who go almost as a form of therapy, like they've been having a tough time, they didn't know they needed it. And so until they went, it unleashed something in them. It's a good environment to practice making connections, one
This
person said. Wow, people are really nice once you introduce yourself and get to know them. This feels very sad because are these people who like don't have friends?
um
They
that's
they
a good question.
need
I didn't
an
think about that.
excursion or a thing to like bond, because that was a huge thing, right? For kids, you had your camp friends and then you had your town or school friends. I never had camp friends because I never went away to camp, but I was
Mm,
always jealous of my friends who had their like summer camp friends.
yes, I know a lot of those. By the way, isn't um summer camp for adults shipping their kids off to camp
I know.
and their summer? Isn't that enough? Don't they celebrate once those little rugrats are gone? That's
Yeah.
their camp right there. They want to take
Yeah.
up archery when their kids are off in Saskatchewan or whatever. They can do that.
Yeah.
Why pay even more money when their kids are gone? That's their camp right there. That is your summer camp.
Well, and that's the thing, I don't know the price of it in here, but it's so expensive to do this. Like, why don't you just go to Italy?
Yeah,
right? Like
seriously.
spend your money on like an adult vacation.
Every resort is summer camp for adults.
Yeah.
Every resort, if it's priced high enough, has the same crap. Maybe not making, God, we really did this in one of my camps. Tie dyes. You always had that old hippie that just was the arts and crafts
Sure.
instructor, and all
Mhm.
he did was teach you how to make tie dyes. And we
Yeah.
didn't even know what those were, and we didn't know how to do it. It was just dyes, white t-shirt, all that. But yeah, every resort gives you all the activities that you would want in summer camp, and some that you wouldn't get in summer camp because they're a little more expensive, like say scuba diving.
Oh,
But
yeah.
none of this makes any sense to me. Um, and I was also asking you, but you were a day camper. I did go away because my parents don't like me, and they were
Great.
happy to get rid of me in summer.
Figures.
Um, and it was a boys' camp, so we didn't have the girls. But I mean, I don't need to tell you, boys are disgusting.
Yeah.
And I specifically, because I'm not a naked guy, as you know, I'm kind of a never nude. So I'd
Yeah.
avoid and also just, it's so weird to just have a giant, which we had, area, no block, like where you would just, everyone would shower and there's no dividers. You just
Yeah.
all group shower. And so I was not the only one. No one showered. And so at least once a week, all the counselors would make us jump into Lake Michigan with a bunch of soap and force us in a bathing suit, which I was happy about, um, to bathe because we were not. And these poor counselors that at the time seemed so old to me, but they were probably like 18, right?
That's so
17.
awkward.
They had to be in our what do you call it? Bunk dorm, whatever, and smell us. And there
Yeah.
was always the kids that would pee in the bed. Every once in a while you had a shitter. Um, and they didn't want to say anything because then you're ostracized for the rest of the 2 weeks or month. Um, all the smells that these counselors had to deal with. Ugh. I doubt they were paid that much, but yeah, we were forced to jump into Lake Michigan with soap because it got that bad.
Wait, hey, speaking of gross, I just thought of this. Adult summer camp, adult things.
Oh,
Is
swinging.
this just like, yeah, swingers paradise?
Yes, 1,000%. I bet s'mores is a euphemism.
Oh my
S'mores
God.
is like one member of another couple and then two other guys. Like, yeah, there's a whole thing going on.
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm thinking, because at first I was trying to look on the bright side and be like, it's a shame that as adults, like, we don't really play anymore. Like, so many of us don't have hobbies or we take ourselves too seriously. But now I'm against this. Now I don't like it.
What was I going to say? Okay, so Joe, so
Yeah.
you were a day camper, but you did go to camp.
Yeah.
Uh, Favorite part of the camp and least favorite from what you recall, since your brain's tiny.
Well, I went to different day camps because they would be like a few weeks at a time. I remember acting camp.
Nice.
Very early on, we did a number two, like Annie, It's a Hard Knock Life.
Love that.
We did a dance routine to Tracy Chapman's Give Me One Reason to Stay Here.
How do you dance to that?
It was so strange. I have no idea.
I'm already picturing in my head you doing like a literal dance moves and like
Yeah.
what you did. You just like give me one reason to stay here. Like you doing that, like just mimicking the entire, like very literally dancing to the lyrics.
I just remember it because this was like maybe 6 and 7 year olds. And I remember just like walking. There was a lot of walking, kneeling, walking, because like most young kids can't dance. So it was just a lot of like following direction.
Yeah.
But that camp was fun. Although I remember it was like outside, it was hot. The thing about summer is hot, and I don't do well in the heat. Uh, my, I don't know if I liked it so much. It was just an awkward time for me. It was summer band camp. And I played the clarinet, and that was
Got
awkward because I was wearing a back brace and I had braces,
that. Oh,
and I had
I
this
like you.
I had this anxiety at band camp because um sort of similar to you, I think there were things I just wasn't playing. Like
Yeah.
I knew what I was supposed to do, but I couldn't quite do it. Like going up the second register on clarinet is kind of hard. And I just sometimes would or wouldn't. And I'm like, am I going to be found out for the fraud that I am?
That
So
was
there was
it.
some of that involved. Also, like, I knew it was the nerdy camp. Like, I knew it was like not the cool camp to tell stories about when you get back to school. So it kind of felt like pointless in a way. I don't know. It was a disappointment.
I was I went to a month-long camp in Colorado. This is how much my parents wanted to get rid of me. Um, that my dad had gone to when he was a kid, and he got some sort of great deal on it. Like, I don't know if it's because I guess I was a legacy camp member. Like, I almost remember like he didn't really have to pay anything aside from I guess my plane ticket, but I was not even exaggerating 8 or 9. And it was the first time I was away from home. I was horribly homesick, and I
Oh,
was by far. I think the next youngest kid was 10. People were like, they almost didn't know what to do with me, and it was very traumatic. And we would do like some river rafting that I don't think was that hardcore because it's a camp, but they had would the counselors would always tell me that there was this god of the particular rapids that we were going on, and his name was Tomoko. And one of the counselors, or maybe one of the older kids, dared me to yell out, and this was even when I was very uncomfortable swearing. I just thought that was bad. Dared his name was Tomoko. He was the god of the rapids, and he dared me to yell out, "Fuck you, Tomoko." And I remember justifying it because I thought, well, my Catholic mom would want me to rage against a God
yeah.
that isn't Jesus slash our Lord Savior. So I was like, yeah, and I'll get attention. So I yell out, "Fuck you, Tomoko," and the counsel. This must have been a kid who dared me because the counselor took off his paddle and it was dripping wet, and he put it on my head. This is terrible. I was 8, and the water's going over me, and he's like, take it back, take it back. I'm like, I take it back, I take it back. We go back to camp, and one of like a bunch of the rafts fall off of our bus, and everyone blamed me because I said "fuck you" to Moko. And so I remember, like this was yesterday, just being isolated. Everyone's like, and the counselors all mad at me, like, it's this kid. He said "fuck you" to Moko, and this happened. And I just remember that night, like writing my parents in my bad handwriting. I'm like, everyone here hates me. I think it's bad to like gods that isn't the one God, and no one here likes me because. And they told me to say it. Like it was a nightmare.
Bill, this is your origin story. Because
It's something.
you
It was bad.
cursed, you said fuck you to this river god. Your life has now been going downstream. Your life has been one raft falling off a bus after another. I mean, how do we correct this? I think we need to fly you back to this camp. You need to, I don't know, do a blood sacrifice into the river.
So you want me to slit my wrists? Is essentially what you're saying.
No, pinprick. And then maybe your life will turn around. This is a good movie plot,
I'm
actually.
telling your nun aunt that you believe in Tomoko, the god of the river, rather than our Lord Savior Jesus Christ, and she's not going to be happy.
I think she would be confused, certainly not happy.
Speaking of rivers,
Oh,
although I don't know if this is a river, and I'm a little confused by where
yeah.
this took place because I have some theories that TMZ got it wrong. As you know, where I get all my news, um, Giselle and Tom Brady, y'all.
Still
So
divorced?
still divorced. A lot of people thought that she was no longer with her jujitsu instructor. Indeed, she is.
Okay.
So while Tom Brady is gearing up for his first season as an NFL announcer, his ex-wife, Giselle Bundchen, is enjoying herself by water biking, didn't know that was a thing, with her man, Joaquim Valente. And interestingly enough, they rode several times right by the former quarterback's house. The
Hmm.
44-year-old model could have been the post because of the ages. Model was spotted out on the Miami waters alongside her jiu-jitsu instructor boyfriend, and their route led them through the waters near TB12's pad several times. Giselle's. So here's the thing. Here's the mulligan. Giselle's $11 million home is very close to Tom's. It's unclear if Brady was home during the water biking fun. But this isn't the first time that we've seen the couple take part in activities out on Miami's waters. In June, they picked up the paddle boards and took them out for a spin alongside Tom and Giselle's kiddos. It also further proves that the two are very much still in a relationship, her and the instructor. And so there you go, Joe. Thoughts overall? Have you ever done anything with a new boyfriend that you kind of in the back of your head knew an ex was going to see?
Of course. That's God. This is just the celebrity rich person equivalent to us plebeians doing really lame acts of like performative, I'm happy. God, I'm trying to think like in college, right? You're with a new fling, your ex fling, you're all at the pub or you're all at the club or wherever you are. And so you're like, look at me, I'm so totally happy. Or you're on campus holding hands when you see your ex passing. Oh, ha, 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 you're so funny. You just told a joke. I'm laughing. It's totally human behavior. I kind of love it. I love that she did this because it means she is just as petty and narcissistic as I am. So once again, I am just like Gisele Bündchen.
Which is the one of trying to make an ex jealous that sticks out in your mind? Because I know you wouldn't regret any of these petty things, but what was a specific one where you're like, oh, I really got him?
You know what it was? In my generation, it was the Facebook posts. It was the instant messenger away messages. So it's like, oh, out on a date or great date night with this person, or you're putting up a picture of, the two of you together, or you do like the cryptic song lyrics that, say you're so happy. It's all calculated. It's all completely calculated because, as you know, we have talked many times about the performative nature of nowadays the Instagram posts.
Yes.
When a couple is posting a lot about how happy they are,
of course,
it's generally not about their happiness. It's about proving something or sticking it to someone. It's not honest and truthful. It's motivated.
Okay. Well, so I added this on the email. I question where this took place in the article. I think TMZ got it wrong because I saw the photo of the place. And it looks to me like it's the same place that Tom Brady has rented from Derek Jeter, not in Miami, and I believe this is also where Gisele lives, but in the rarefied river that is Tampa Bay, where Tom Brady last played. And I believe Tom Brady is still at that place. The reason I bring this up is, and also I know Gisele was like across the river from there, so it is not Miami, it is in Tampa Bay. And the island of which Tom Brady lives is a very rich island. And this is where I screwed up. But and here we go. We don't talk about it much anymore, but I used to perhaps date a former White House press secretary by the name of Kayleigh McEnany. And so I would visit Kayleigh a lot, and her place is pretty great in the same island. And she knew, well, not the biggest of sports fans, she knew I would be interested in seeing Derek Jeter's place. Mm-hmm. And you cannot see Derek Jeter's place. It is very closed. And the only way you can do it, and Joe, this is insane, and I have the photo, they get along, they travel in this particular area of Tampa Bay. This is the same river where they did the river Super Bowl win parade. If you recall, Tom Brady almost threw the trophy into the exact same one.
Okay.
And she's like, do you want to get on the Wave Runner, where people would use Wave Runners to just get around? Talk them. We used to go to Hooters. They led the McEnany's loved Hooters, and we do it on the Rave Runner. She's like, "Do you want to go check out Jeter's place?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And you
Sure.
couldn't see it, even though he was a couple blocks away from her or her family. But you could see it very clearly when we would take the Wave Runner, and we just went a little bit like Giselle, back and forth, getting photos and just checking it out, see if we can see Jeter, blah blah. I think that's the same place, and it is not in Miami. I could be wrong,
Okay.
but it brought all that stuff back. And it also made me think a little bit, even though this is real, like the Jeopardy dream, where, goddamn, her family was rich, and why couldn't I just make that work? I have zero problem being a kept man. I could be an amazing house husband.
Yeah.
What was I thinking? Is
Yeah, maybe, the J-Lo thing will pan out. So don't give up hope.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm assuming you're not patronizing me and you truly believe that.
All right, these are the More You Joe members. We also have bare minimum members. If you only want to pay a little bit, we still love you for that. But the More You Joe members, we have Smart Ass Owls, Forrest Nelson, Chris
Like it.
Orlando. We love Chris. Five Fan, you're the best.
God bless you, Matt.
Unnecessary, but thank you.
By the way, Matt, I have a bunch of your new art that I'll show next week. We never get to it, but he's given us a bunch of new.
There's so much. Or check us out on Instagram. Sometimes I put stuff there.
Okay.
Aaron Kraft, thank you. And Thomas Stromberg, we appreciate you all. Again, thanks for the super thanks, jgross5253. So again, if you haven't already, we appreciate all of our members in whatever you can monthly support us with. And Bill, what do you have going on this week?
Oh gosh,
Or this
so
weekend?
much. You're more than welcome. I have to finalize my Turtle Bay tour. When I first now go with the head of Bowery Boys. It's coming hopefully soon, September. My tour of my neighborhood, Walk What You Know. I have to finalize all the points this weekend that I'm going to hit, and then I'm going to take it with him. I'll give you my notes. We got to hurry up on this because I need some funds. So hopefully that'll happen soon. Joe, what do you got?
Now I'm working all weekend. That's it.
Oh, yeah, and this is Labor Day weekend, is it not?
Yep, I like to labor on Labor Day. All right, everyone, have a good and safe weekend, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Call me, J-Lo.